What is good, everybody? I am Juliana Page, and I wanted to share a message with you today. This is something that I actually do every Monday. It's called Momentum Monday, and often I share information, inspiration, encouragement that can help you really be more woke. You're fully aware, really intentional about how you start a week because you want to be able to build momentum and positive momentum, right? And how you start a thing and the energy that you bring to a thing often is informative of the energy you'll carry through it. So today I wanted to talk about, and you can follow that over on IG. It's at Miss Juliana Page if you want to keep up with those. But wanted to share it over here today. And the message is don't ignore the nudge. Okay. And what does this mean? Well, when you get a prompting, some call it intuition, some call it, I don't know, divine intervention. There's many different things, right? But when you get that conviction, an intuitive hit, whatever it is, you just get this knowing in your spirit, this inspiration. You're being moved or stirred on the inside. This isn't something that somebody else notices, right? It's not because you ate something funny. You're getting stirred on the inside because you're being moved into action. Okay, so I'll share an example. On today, I had just met up with a friend and I was coming home because there was many things that I had purposed and planned to do that will still get done. But as I was driving, I caught an email on my phone. And right now, my family is going through a big conversation, a big discussion, a discussion that has needed to happen for a long time. And it's around race and what's happening in the country right now. And this was something that was initiated by my younger stepsister. She really felt very triggered by things that she was watching and seeing and exposed to in New York. And she reached out to myself and our sisters, we're a blended family, to really get some support and backing on preparing a letter to give to the parents. And she has she's thought through this in a lot of ways, is, composed this letter and wanted to send it to them. And I just supported her and gave her my feedback. And then she sent it to the parents. The parents responded with long letters. And several days then went by, and my younger sister responded to that today. And when my youngest sister responded to it today, I felt the first nudge. And that was actually before I was going to visit with this friend. Then on my way home, I was still feeling this stirring that today is the day that you need to respond. Like, you can't put this off any longer. And in my mind, and this is what we do, we ignored the nudge, right? And we put it off for some other time. We put it off for, got to turn off the volume on this thing so it doesn't blow up here. All right. So we off for another time. We think we'll get to it when we have better, we have a greater capacity to articulate what we want to say, or when we have more time, or when we're in a better state, or all of these things, right? Which some of that might be valid, but often when it's most effective is to respond when you get that nudge, and to not ignore the nudge. So I had put it off because I work at a African-American run organization, and I've been in the thick of a lot of what's going on for years now, kind of in stealth mode, just slowly but surely finding solutions and moving things forward every day as we can. And so I felt like, because my family knew that, they would have, in some sense, an understanding of where I stand on a lot of these issues. So I didn't feel compelled for a while to respond, but I felt the nudge. So at any rate, first thing I did, I didn't put anything away when I got home. I just sat down, I opened a computer, I opened the email, and I just started writing. Well, I prayed, and then I started writing, and just let God flow. And it was interesting what happened. There was, a quote from Maya Angelou, who I absolutely love, who's been one of my mentors as far as how she's shown up and influenced the world, and the way she carried herself with just such strength and dignity, but also some wit and some sass, and man, the depth of her soul too. But I remember this hitting so hard when I was younger, and it's that a person won't remember what you say. They won't remember what you do, but they will remember how you make them feel. And I just felt that like, whew, like a gut check at a very young age, probably 9 or 10. And I felt it to be true. But even though you know the truth of something, the actual stewarding of it is not necessarily easy. And so something that I encountered was, how are my thoughts impacting somebody? How are my words impacting somebody? How are my actions or lack of action impacting somebody? How do I want to impact someone? How do I get busy about doing that and creating that? And what is my next step? So I shared with my family that I've taken this to a place of radical responsibility, and not from self-deprecation or guilt, but from ruthless self-examination of my beliefs and my belief systems, and faulty beliefs and belief systems, and anywhere that I've strayed from love, and where I can grow personally, and what I can do, right? Even just in my immediate surroundings. So that's where I've taken many of the things going on. I don't see it as just there's always a sense of urgency on it. It's just what you do being a good human, right? Like the body, if a part of the body is bleeding, you're going to find a way to heal the wound, right? And stop the bleeding at least, but then heal the wound so you can have a fully functioning body. And I believe that we need a whole body. You can't just cut your arm off and expect your body to function. It's just not how it works, right? And I think that's what's needed in the world right now, particularly from my point of view, is spiritual. And we need mind healing, heart healing, emotional stability. We need emotional fitness. We need to be bold and to be daring. Theodore Roosevelt wrote a really great quote about being in the arena. So essentially what I did, what I was led to do, was finally put words to what I've been experiencing and feeling for a minute, and let my family know my heart and my devotion and where I'm focused and where I'm committed, right? And it was beautiful because I listened to the nudge. Okay. And that's really what I want to highlight. Not so much what I put in that letter, although I sent a ton of great resources. And I have some on my Instagram too, if you want to go follow over there. At any rate, what made that impactful is that I listened to the nudge. Okay. So we're always being led, if we're sensitive and aware, in ways of pleasantness and peace. That's what God does, right? But it also requires our cooperation and our willingness to respond. So we've got to be aware, we've got to be present, and we've got to be willing. So I often picture a hollow bamboo, right? I'm not a hollow bamboo that God can flow through if all of my own thoughts are in there, if I've got a lot of emotional turmoil going on, if I'm hanging on to things, if I'm trying to figure stuff out. Like, there's no way that God's going to flow through that. There's no way that I'm going to be able to show up and be a loving human and really influence well. So I share that because that's an example of when the time is right, God can really make things happen. But you've got to be open and you've got to be receptive so you can cooperate and be in alignment with that time. Hopefully that makes sense. So my example of bringing up this letter, this email, my response to the family, it was timely. Any other time that I tried to do it, I didn't have that inspiration. To some degree, I felt like I was making excuses, but today I realize it was because when the time is right, it'll flow and it'll make sense and it'll be authentic. It'll be from love, and right, there'll be no attachment to how that's received at all, right? It's just sow the seed, right? Any other time it would have been explaining, clarifying, pushing a vision. Do you know what I mean? Like it just would not have been fluid. It would have not have landed the same kind of way as it did today. So my encouragement to you, whether it's having a bold, daring, scary conversation with family, whether it's showing up in a workplace that you're not frankly family in, but you deeply care and are about the same issues, whether it's doing work in recovery, whether it's being a present and involved parent with your kids and educating them on some pretty hard things, whatever it is, whenever you get a nudge to call a friend, to be a gift or a blessing in the life of somebody else, respond to that. Get out of your own way and respond to that, because you don't know what's on the other side of your obedience. You have no idea. And it's not even about that, but you will absolutely be frustrated, conflicted, just all sorts of like tied up until you respond. So my encouragement to you is, whatever that thing is that has been nudging you, you've been getting that nudge, stop ignoring the nudge and decide anytime you get a new one in the future, it's a call to action. It's a call to rise. It's a call to love. It's a call to take action. So don't ignore it. All right. So hopefully that helps you. I think I mentioned, if you go to @Miss Juliana Page, I have some anti-racism resources for beginners over there, and a lot of other great stuff. That's where you can find all of my links to different websites and different things that I do. I also have a Spirit-Filled Real Talk podcast every Saturday, if you want to find that over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and many other great things. But if you have not already, subscribe to this channel. If you know somebody that needs to remember to not ignore the nudge, copy the link of this video and share with a friend. All right, until next time, guys, stay blessed.